am Karen, and this is my learning profile, which will be divided into 3 sections. First section, which comprises 3 different aspects. A, my conception about learning. B, my strengths and weaknesses. And third, my abilities as far as learning is concerned. Second, a rationale about self-directed learning approach applicable in my own context. And third, an autonomous learning plan. Let's start. Learning is the experience to master knowledge in such a manner that the individual is able to apply it critically in a particular situation. Taking into account this conception, the fact of being involved in different experiences and the opportunity to set new goals to achieve every day has enriched my personal and professional development. Broadly speaking, I am a very active person, conservative, generous, and quite independent. I am a self-starter and a self-disciplined person who usually try to be updated in order to reinforce my learning process. I am a very determined when I settle my goals, and I always attempt to give my best in order to achieve a high level of quality and originality in my assignments. Learning is a field that motivates me continuously. When I find interesting a specific topic, I seek continuous information about this, and I try to put it into practice, which has set me awareness skills of and has promoted a significant progress in my learning process. As a result, when I make some mistakes, I usually analyze them and I try to learn and internalize the correct way for future references in order to overcome the limitations. I love to reflect on my life and how to improve in each arena of it. In addition, I am a creative person who likes to innovate and show a variety of options in order to support another ideas. Regarding my weaknesses, I can say that I am an introvert person. I am a moderate person, not high risk taker, and sometimes unsure of myself. For this reason, I sometimes feel intimidated when I speak in public. I am also a quite perfectionist and temperamental. I am a quite organized person regarding my professional task. First of all, I bear in mind the different tasks that I have, and I try to prioritize them in order to fulfill each assignment objective. I organize them through a checklist using the application Trello.com. However, when I feel under pressure, I get stressed and anxious, which is reflected through my health. I lean towards serving people. I like to listen to my colleagues and provide some ideas only when it is necessary. I am a very active person and a visual learner who enjoys supporting my learning through the interaction with other people. I love technology. Most of the time, I inquire about different tools that might enhance my students' learning. From my point of view, technology is a way to encourage imagination, creativity, and originality. However, this should be incorporated in the classroom as soon as the students become self-regulated. Bearing in mind these strengths and weaknesses in regards to learning, the fact of involving self-directed learning as in the personal as professional field might help me improve my process as a learner but also as a teacher. Therefore, this section will encompass the self-directed learning features and conceptions as well as implementation in my own context. Section 2. According to Hemstra, self-directed learning is characterized by the encouragement of responsibility. It involves different kinds of activities in which the student is the core and teachers might get along very well through different roles. Thus, learners take responsibility for their own learning. However, in order to make my students understand self-directed learning strategies, it is necessary to start analyzing who I am and what my levels of motivation, self-regulation, and self-efficacy that I might have as learner teacher. As Thornton mentions, the fact of providing an adapted atmosphere to foster cognitive skills depends principally on talents and self-efficacy of teachers. Teachers are the link to promote students' motivation and foster their learning development. Bearing in mind this point and analyzing my case, I might have a resilient sense of efficacy, since I am always setting specific, difficult but attainable goals, which has helped me improve my performance as an individual. I also have the capacity to adjust them according to my progress and the obtained outcomes. Nevertheless, the sense of efficacy is being affected by my affective and cognitive processes. It is evident that I do not have a control over my thoughts. I lack of controllability, and for this reason my stress and anxiety are reflected externally. Therefore, I need to strengthen my self-regulatory efficacy in order to increase my control over my emotions. Regarding the academic and professional field, I might evidence a positive progress in level of self-regulation because of my diligence, resourcefulness, and awareness of my abilities. I am a proactive person who knows which path to take, following a sequence in order to achieve my own goals. I endeavor to look for environments where I can apply my knowledge, as Zimmerman states. I also attempt to include metacognitive strategies in order to understand why I am learning and to reflect upon how I can apply the knowledge in problem-solving cases. So, taking into consideration this short analysis, self-directed learning might be a closeness to a more meaningful learning and to a more correct management of learners' abilities. The fact of having cleared a series of phases corresponding to this approach, planning, implementing, monitoring, and evaluating, might help me overcome those different setbacks that might be affecting my personal and professional development. From teacher's perspective, I consider as a public school worker that the fact of incorporating self-directed learning might help overcome certain difficulties regarding students' learning. In my context, students demonstrate a lack of self-regulation, self-motivation, low sense of self-efficacy, and a lack of metacognitive skills. Apart from that, my students have showed a low performance in second language skills. This might happen because the students do not understand why learning a second language is relevant. According to Kant and O'Malley, learning is an active, dynamic process in which learners select information from their environment, organize information related to what they already know, retain what they consider to be important, use the information in appropriate contexts, and reflect on the success of their learning effects. Based on this definition, it is extremely necessary to reflect upon the teacher roles and the second language learning environments that teachers usually provide students. To learn a second language requires resilience but also awareness and motivation. Hence, it is important to provide students the elements required to succeed in the second language acquisition process. Okoro stands out. Must have an understanding of the 50 characteristics of becoming a self-directed learning, student motivation, goal orientation, self-efficacy, and lack of control, self-regulation, and metacognition. These concepts produce a framework for helping students to truly gain an understanding of themselves as learners and how they can improve their self-worth as learners. However, self-directed learning cannot be applied immediately. This is a process where teachers must face self-regulatory instructions. Then, the first step is to generate an understanding of what they learn and how they do it. For accomplishing this objective, it is indispensable to understand in which phase students are. Thus, GROW proposes a staged self-directed learning model. According to this model, my students are located in the first stage, since they see teacher as an authoritative figure who provides directions about what to do, how to do it, and when to do it. Bearing in mind this point, GROW proposes using an insight method in which students participate in the design and content of the learning, starting from a reflection on who they are and what they want, and developing an awareness of their own process, their needs analysis, and the setting of goals. This is an appropriate strategy for my context because of my students are surrounded by different troubleshoot issues, familiar, social, economic, cognitive. The fact of involving their own experiences might provide them better tools to foster their learning of their skills. Self-directed learning is a way to optimize students' abilities, but also an excuse to foment the autonomy, defined as a capacity and willingness to act independently and in cooperation with others as a social responsible person. Nevertheless, this cannot be carried out without proposing a space to apply it. Therefore, it is important that teachers firstly start fomenting an autonomous classroom culture where students can overcome the autonomy levels, learning management, cognitive processing, and the content of learning. And secondly, reflect upon the psychological and social variables that can affect each student's learning process and the diversity that a classroom might include. In this way, they might support a student's identity and their belonging and privacy. In addition, a student-directed learning guide students to promote their high-order thinking skills through the use of metacognitive strategies. Metacognition helps students monitor and evaluate what they are learning and how they are doing it, looking for new strategies that help them have a more effective learning process. Finally, and following Thornton, this approach promotes meaningful learning for the lifespan, which is necessary for each individual. The important factor is to analyze ourselves as learners. In this way, we will have sufficient tools to promote environments in which the students may apply their knowledge and identify the diverse strategies that might help them to set achievable and potential goals and become self-regulated. Now, regarding the different concerns that I have in the personal and professional field, I have designed the following autonomous learning plan. First section. My goals: to improve writing for academic purposes and to strengthen the metacognitive strategies in my students. My plan is divided into 4 phases, as Thornton states: planning, implementing, monitoring, and evaluating. The first phase will be applied in September, and the last one will be applied in December. Moreover, each phase includes the corresponding purposes, actions, and expected outcomes. Well, hope you have found this presentation interesting. Thanks for watching.